More than 1,200 homes in Atlanta have been taken over by squatters, and the property owners have nothing that they've been able to do about it. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over the whole squatter situation in the Atlanta metro area, okay? So I covered a story a while back about a landlord who was having difficulty getting one of these squatters or scammers up out of their property, right? Well, this is becoming a very, very common problem, and part of the reason is because they have a eviction court backlog right now, and people have figured out ways to scam the system where they get to stay in these properties for free. So they figure out who these big landlords are, these big corporate landlords. They're moving into these properties, and they're not being forced out of them for months. So yeah, they got somewhere free to stay for a long time. Now, this is bad because they're not going to limit themselves just to the corporate landlords, okay? They're going to come after the small mom and pops as well, and it's going to end up becoming a complete disaster. That's why they need to jump on this, get that eviction court backlog up out of there, maybe change the laws within the state to make it easier to remove these people for trespassing, okay? I talk about this stuff all the time, okay? This is complete garbage, and the only thing it's doing is hurting the small mom and pop landlords in particular, who do not have the type of money necessary in order to survive these kind of people going in and stealing their property from them. So yeah, great article. I'll be going over it in just a minute. But before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think, right? And before I actually get into the video, what I want to do is I want to cover a couple of the comments from my last video. And so my last video was KC tenants want to ban landlords from using background info to make tenant screening decisions. And there were a couple of really good comments in there, and I just wanted to bring it up real quick before before I start on the article about the squatters in Atlanta. So this comment is coming from a user named Onum She by Kali Ma, and it says, "It's a lot less than 99% of landlords who actually are doing what they're supposed to do. Sorry. I hardly doubt that you can generalize. Many of you are hard up for money and gamble, taking chances on people who your spidey senses are telling you not to rent to." And I disagree with this, okay? You say it's far less than 99% of landlords who are doing things that they're supposed to do? No. It's probably far more than 99%. Okay, now you see a few, I'm sure everybody's seen the articles in the newspaper about the bad landlords. Everybody has seen that. I don't cover those articles because that's all we hear. I want to cover the stuff about the bad tenants, the stuff we don't see as often, okay? So here's the thing. Of all the stories, you can compile all the stories together, right? And you might have a few hundred really bad stories, right? Well, there are thousands, tens of thousands of landlords in every single city across this country. You don't hear anything about the tens of thousands of those landlords out there who are doing everything right every day. You hear about the one or two bad ones out there. There might even be a dozen bad ones. A dozen compared to 10,000 is less than 1%. Far less than 1%, okay? Even 100 out of 10,000 is far less than the number of landlords. So basically what I'm saying is 99% plus of all landlords are doing everything correct. And don't think that what I'm talking about like giant landlords, okay? Everyone who rents a single house is a landlord. Everyone who rents a single room in their house is a landlord, okay? You don't hear stories about these people because they're doing everything right. And guess what? We all get punished when you pass stupid laws going after the one or two guys who you read a newspaper article about. It's stupid, and I'm just going to disagree with that. I had to bring this comment up because, it's important. So anyway, let me get into the story coming out of Atlanta because it is a good story. So this article is coming from Bloomberg.com, and it says, "Atlanta squatter problem is vexing Wall Street landlords. An estimated 1,200 homes are illegally occupied in the Atlanta area, an epicenter for institutional investors. Yeah, and like I said, this isn't just going to be affecting the institutional investors. Yeah, they're the primary people that the squatters are going after right now, but, you know, they're coming after small mom and pops as well. So let's get into it. In the biggest U.S. market for institutional landlords, squatting in vacant rental homes has reached such extremes that owners offer intruders money to leave, and many property managers won't check on suspect houses alone. A squatter last spring shot one of Matt Urbanski's employees in the leg during a 4-mile car chase through the Atlanta suburb of Lithonia. Urbanski, who runs a home cleaning and construction firm, had been trying to remove the man's belongings from a house owned by rental industry giant Starwood Capital Group. They got into a scuffle, which escalated into a pursuit and gunfire. So yeah, basically 1,200 homes that they know about, okay? This doesn't even include the ones where, you know, maybe the landlord and the squatter were able to work something out and they were able to get those people up out of there, right? But these are the ones that were reported. 1,200, that's a lot, okay? I wouldn't expect there to be that many, but this apparently is a huge problem up in the Atlanta area right now. So for the investors in that area, please watch out for this, because you know what? This can easily happen to you. And, you know, like I said, you know, the article is focusing on these institutional investors, but it's the stories of the small mom and pop landlords who, you know, I was renting the house, my tenant moved out, we were fixing it up, getting it ready for the next tenant. We come back to the house and there's a car parked in the driveway and somebody has moved in. You know, like, that is the kind of thing that could happen to you. So, you know, you got to be extra vigilant. You got to really, really watch out for this sort of thing. And, you know, my personal belief is that we need more laws to treat these people as the trespassers that they are. I'd be terrified in Atlanta to lease out one of my properties, Urbanski said. Around 1,200 homes in metro Atlanta recently have had squatters, or people occupying a property illegally without a landlord-tenant relationship, according to an estimate from the National Rental Home Council Trade Group. That's far more than any other U.S. metro area tracked by the council. And it's hitting big names in America's single-family rental business, including Starwood, Cerberus Capital Management's First Key Homes, and Amherst Group, all of which have had dozens of properties with squatters. Landlords say evicting intruders can take half a year or more due to backlogged court systems and overwhelmed sheriff's offices. So yeah, these people, they know they can get half a year or more, so 6 months or more free rent. And all they got to do is just move in. And these big landlords in particular are being targeted because, you know, they see it as a victimless crime. But remember, there's no such thing as a victimless crime. When you go to a home in the Atlanta metro area and the rent is way higher than it used to be. Why? Because they have to write off the cost of evicting these squatters. They have to write off the damages that these squatters do. They have to write off their legal fees and, you know, all the other stuff. And that is seen in higher rents for all the other properties. So it's a lose-lose. It's a lose for these big corporations. It's a lose for the small mom and pop landlords who might also become victim. It's a lose for the tenants who see a lack of affordable housing due to these squatters, the people who want something for free and are stealing, breaking and entering, stealing, burglarizing these properties. I mean, you know, this is a joke, okay? So there should be a real crackdown on it, but there's not. And the reason this is being caused is due to this eviction court backlog. You know, I can't remember how long ago I did the video on the court backlog. I can't remember which county it was in the Atlanta area, but, you know, like, you see this sort of stuff happening, and the only thing you can think is, well, why don't we fix this problem? Why is it taking so long for the government to act and get the ball rolling again? And especially in a place like Georgia, which is generally known to be a more right-leaning, conservative, and pro-property rights place, this is not the kind of thing that we want to be seeing, okay? The large corporations are having a hard time dealing with it, Urbanski said. A small individual who would want to use that property to build their long-term wealth and secure their future, it could potentially destroy them. Starwood and Amherst declined to comment. First Key Homes, based just outside Atlanta, has installed smart home equipment and created notification systems to address trespassing, said spokesman Alex Horwitz. Tiger Capital Group, which has managed homes for Starwood, declined to comment, but Chief Executive Officer Simon Frost wrote local authorities a letter begging for help. Unlawful occupants often brandish weapons and threaten neighbors, including children, Frost wrote. This problem is rapidly growing. We are concerned about the impact that this is having on safety and livability of our local neighborhoods. Yeah, writing a strongly worded letter. Yeah, that'll make things happen. You know, the one in landlord group, they were saying, hey, they were putting security systems in the homes. I mean, that's probably the best course of action so that you can take action quickly on it. You know, if you got your alarm going off on the place, or maybe alarm system will scare the people away, but it's not going to ever stop it completely. What we really need is a crackdown on them by the government, okay? Basically, laws in place where these people can be arrested and removed immediately, okay? That's it. No eviction court. Don't pass go. Do not collect $200. You don't get 6 months of free rent. You get to go to jail immediately. That's what we need. That's the only way we're going to solve this problem. So, let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm going to put a link to the article in the description down below. And also, what do you think of that comment earlier that suggested that, they're like landlords they're like being bad landlords were much more pervasive than what I claim they are. Okay, do you agree with the commenter, or do you agree with me and think that the grand majority of landlords are doing everything right?